I have Nirav Shah, my friend, here to read Cancer Man with us. Nirav, thank you so much for doing this.
Always a pleasure.
Nirav, I must confess that having known you for so many years now, you're nothing like what I've written about the Cancer Man.
Okay.
I know when you must have read this before and you were thinking about coming and doing this with us. After having read, you must have said, "This is just not me. I'm not going to read this." Did that cross your mind?
No, it didn't really, but I should say it's not all not there. There are a few aspects which I completely agree with. Yeah,
Can you highlight some of them?
the craziness, man.
Ah,
Yeah, I would say the hypersensitivity. The fact that totally sort of hit home was the flu bit. Yeah, that.
you throw tantrums?
Dude, I get a small cut and I'm like, as if I've broken my leg or something.
Oh my God! I'm actually going to ask you whether you are like that. Eh?
Absolutely. I mean, a small cough is like probably cancer's coming home. Fever is like HA91 or whatever. Yeah.
Oh my
it's
goodness.
complete breakdown.
Oh my goodness!
And of course, a lot of attention seeking is required then. Yeah. I mean, if the whole family is not all over me, then I take it very, very personally.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah. So I think that statement was as if I could have written it for you. Yeah.
Oh, lovely, lovely. I'm so happy that at least got one fact right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But other than that, anything that you may want to say that you disagreed with? I remember that you were quite pissed at that part where I said that the aggressive kind of... I've not actually described cancer as aggressive or passive in the book, but I talked about the man who can get a little violent and, this, that, the other, and you were quite amused that really people do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was amused in the sense I was amused with the aspect that in your interaction with people, like, who do you know does that?
Yeah.
More of not as a amusement factor, but maybe we can gossip later.
Yeah. But thank you again, Nirav, for doing this with us. Really appreciate your time.
It was a lot of fun, Chetan, and thank you for asking. And I hope
you've earned your drink.
Thank
Cheers,
you,
buddy. Thanks.
Thank you. Cancer, 22nd June to 23rd July. Cancer Man. Forgot who said what and when, or what you may have worn on the first date? Ask your cancerian partner and he will rattle it off in a single breath. His memory can be compared to a great tusker. There's very little that he doesn't store in the deep recesses of his mind. With moods that swing like a pendulum, the cancer guy can dip low or rise high in a matter of minutes. Sensitive to the core, a harsh word or a careless gesture is enough to hurt him. But he also comes armed with an easygoing nature that appeals to all. Makes being with him such a whole lot of fun. While his love for travel can take him places, he always wants to come back to a warm abode, his den, an affectionate wife and obedient children. And if his mother's staying with him, he's likely to come home double quick. How can you identify a Cancer man in a crowd? This is one of those zodiac signs where it is impossible to categorize people as aggressive or passive. There are distinct percentages of introvert and extrovert kinds under the sign of the crab, but the sociability of even the most extroverted Cancer man stays within limits. Although outgoing, he will have only a few select friends. This may be because Cancerians tend to get picky with their preferences as they mature. A Cancer man is adventurous and likes to hit the road. His easygoing nature makes him adjust to various situations with grace. He can stay at a 5-star hotel or a local guest house with equal comfort. Don't be surprised if you see him on a luxury cruise liner one day and on a backpacking spree the next. Cancerian men are driven by emotions. Like their female counterpart, they are also hypersensitive, emotional, and very sentimental. It has not been easy for me to spot Cancer men in a crowd. What are the key features of his personality? Like I said before, a Cancer man's outgoing nature stays within boundaries. This is probably because the assertive side of his personality is tethered to shyness, insecurity, and ego. This often stops him from opening up in front of people, especially strangers. But there is a positive outcome of this too. Most, not all Cancer men know how to mind their own business. One of the major highlights of a Cancer male's personality is his mood swings. Rather, constant mood swings. He is in a perpetual state of transition and can be seen in different avatars in the span of a day. He is much like a baby, sleeping one moment and awake the next, laughing one moment and crying the next. But these mood changes are not a personality change, as his frame of mind returns to normal. He gets back to being his usual self. His mood ranges from restless to hyperactive, stubborn to easygoing, and gnashing your teeth to happy-go-lucky. So much for a Cancer man in a day. He is also a perfectionist, but not in the general sense of the term. To him, being a perfectionist means having everything around him in order. He likes to keep his accessories on display in a perfect array. Anything out of sort can rock his boat. A Cancer male likes to wear a mask of indifference and sometimes of mysteriousness. This enables him to hide his true emotions. But this facade camouflages an emotional heart, which is also kind and affectionate. This man is honest about his feelings, be it anger, love, or hatred. He means every word he says. He is also understanding, compassionate, and sympathetic, and usually never hurts others intentionally. How is he on the following aspects? Appearance. I have found most Cancer men to be extremely casual. When it comes to fashion and clothes, they do admire the good things in life, but it is not a must-have for them. However, I am not saying this for the ones who have made it big in life. A Cancer man, if his monetary condition permits, will have all things stylish and will devote both time and money in maintaining sophistication in everything. Ambition. A Cancer man is known to be extremely ambitious, yet home is where his heart is. Given a choice, he wouldn't want to work more than 6 to 8 hours a day unless he has nothing to go back home to. The cancerians I have known have sharp business acumen and are very enterprising. However, a certain lack of initiative can prove to be a deterrent to their ambition. Also, some Cancer men tend to be lazy, which affects the career growth curve. Ego, self-respect. A Cancer man would come across as a regular guy. He is not overly warm or friendly. This is mainly because he is selective about what company he keeps. Besides being picky, this may also be because he is governed by his ego, but unless you have a keen eye for observation, you will never come to know about it. Responsibility. Like most of us, the Cancer man too likes his independence. As much as he can manage, he would avoid living in anybody's shadow. This shows that he is capable of taking responsibilities. But there's a catch. He can be very dependent on his family for emotional support. Having achieved independence and made a living that he yearned for, he will make it a point to take care of his parents if he is on good terms with them. But this may not apply to all Cancer men, as they can be quite selfish and self-obsessed. For a Cancer man, responsibility towards his spouse is generally conditional. As much as he can be loving and caring, he can be driven by certain mood swings and turn cynical. Etiquettes. A Cancer man is known to be casual and laid back, yet at the same time quite proper, if the situation demands. You cannot call him a stickler for etiquettes, but he will show impeccable manners while in public. Here again, his upbringing and social status play an important role. What is his approach towards life? Amongst Cancer men, 50% are realistic and practical, while the rest are not. Once again, it is ironic how the Cancer man's status and money determines, at times, how he behaves and what he does. He is not just emotional and sentimental. He goes overboard in that department. Touchy like a mimosa. A Cancer man can be a difficult client if his emotions are trifled or sentiments ignored. Most Cancer men I have met prefer to be leaders than followers, but usually need to analyze their risks beforehand. Unless fiercely independent, they also look for support from family and friends while taking any initiative. How does a Cancer man score on the following points? Cynicism. As per my observation, about 30% of Cancer men are cynical, although you might not notice that in your early interactions with them. The remaining 70% can get equally cynical, but only under exceptional circumstances or when provoked or cornered. Suspicion, jealousy. I'm yet to come across a Cancer man who is not suspicious and jealous by nature. The odds are 1 against 1,000. One peculiar Cancer guy may come across as unsuspicious, but there again, it may be because he is up to something sneaky himself. Dishonesty and infidelity. A Cancer man is usually committed, yet a flirt at heart. Like most men, he regards occasional diversions as his right, but he is not liable to promiscuity while in a loving and satisfying relationship. But infidelity in his partner will not be taken lying down. No way. Hardships. If faced with hardships, a Cancer man can be dominated by his emotions and moods instead of his intellect. He is not known to give up easily, but would rarely put in more effort than required. Some Cancer males can be quite a crybaby and play the blame game to avoid taking responsibility. Success and failure. Most Cancer males I have met are conservative, and hence something like success will be shared only with their loved ones or people they feel close to. Given their emotional nature, most Cancer men find it difficult to deal with failure in a sensible manner. They take matters to heart and would brood and clam up without specifying what exactly upset them. However, they have a tendency to recharge themselves, especially drawing emotional strength from their loved ones, and get back to the task at hand with a positive attitude. Host. He can be casual and also adaptive depending on whom he has invited. For instance, a Cancer friend of mine would create a formal atmosphere, order the best wine, beer, if he were to invite me home. He revealed himself when he admitted that he took all those pains to make me comfortable because he gets similar treatment from me when he is invited over. The inside story is he would be casual with people who are not as fussy as me. Guest. Most adaptive. A Cancer man, when invited over, can be quite adjusting and easygoing, unless he has gotten himself into a criticizing mood. How does he handle difficult situations? From what I have seen, known and heard, in a situation like a quarrel, there is a clear divide on how different Cancerians behave differently. While a certain percentage of them can stay composed, some of them can get really aggressive because of their extremely possessive and insecure nature. Due to this, when in a torrential mood, a few are even capable of manhandling the woman they love. What is his characteristic weakness? I believe the negative or positive qualities of someone are a matter of perception, but there are some traits that are undoubtedly jarring in an otherwise pleasing personality, and in Cancer men such traits are rather prominent. Foremost is a Cancer man's retentive memory. He will remember every minute incident or happening in his life, especially related to his childhood, and anecdotes from his experiences will keep cropping up in every conversation. His memory is all the more sharp in keeping a tab on others' mistakes. He is so engrossed in his ledgers of errors that he often misses out on the goodness of other people, and also the good things life has given him. A Cancer man can forgive, not so readily though, but he will never forget. This can cause unpleasantness around him and discomfort to his loved ones. Some Cancer males also suffer from a sort of inferiority complex. This makes them narrow-minded about their approach towards others. Basically, not all Cancer men are people-centric, and all these inhibitions trouble them a lot while dealing with others. His opinionated nature makes him stick to his guns, his views, with unrelenting obstinacy. He then believes his opinions are gospel truths and should never be questioned. Another behavioral pattern I have noticed among Cancer men is fatalism. A Cancer man tends to be fatalistic about life and its outcomes. Nothing wrong with this attitude, as at times it helps you prepare for failures and setbacks. But a Cancer man tends to carry it a bit further and applies it to everything in life. A Cancer male lives life on the extremes. Every emotion, every feeling is taken rather seriously, read over seriously, sometimes to the extent of being ridiculous. If a Cancer guy comes down with an ordinary flu, he would kick such a ruckus one might think him to be in some grave medical danger. Much like his female counterpart, a Cancer man suffers from the drawbacks of hypersensitivity. You will usually find him high on emotions, and the smallest of provocation can send him into a flying rage or in the throes of misery. Is there something more to his persona? Yes. There are more characteristics of a Cancer man that are evident only to a discerning eye. A Cancer male can be a good mix between being satisfied with what he has and aspiring for more. Depending on his standard of living and status, he can grow from moderately ambitious to overly ambitious. Although he flaunts a casual attitude, he is usually not satisfied with mediocre living, and whereas he aspires for good things in life, he is not dependent on them. A Cancer man craves for security, be it emotional or financial. He is so fond of saving things for tomorrow that it is almost an obsession. There is an underlying fear of being destitute or helpless in most Cancer men, which leads them to think of future as full of tragedy and therefore take every precaution to provide for the future. And that includes huge savings in the bank and hoarding his refrigerator. Okay, maybe I exaggerated a little. Cancer men are secretive to the core. Although they might be privy to their friends' secrets, they won't be quick to confide their own. Herein, again, lies the insecurity that someone might take advantage of their situation. This trait is also the cause of their innate shyness. This man likes to treasure everything from the days of yore. His baseball cap, his kid sister's hand-painted greeting card, his mother's gifts, all find a place in his cupboard. Don't let the box of his treasures be a part of your spring cleaning. If you throw any of his old stuff, you are likely to face his wrath and see him sulk for days on end. In spite of his rather serious and at sometimes morbid nature, the Cancer man has a peculiar sense of humor. He enjoys a good joke now and then, and is also capable of cracking one himself. His quiet exterior hides a rather funny face. Don't expect mimes, slapstick, or stand-up comedy from him. He is more likely to make sophisticated jokes that inspire quiet laughter. Very often he sees humor in situations when others don't. A Cancer man has a mind of his own, and his innate sense of understanding does not necessarily match with those around him. While he may understand people and things, it can be from a totally different perspective. Hence I've concluded that it takes time to convince him, as he does not readily agree to things. He is not one to make an effort to start conversations, discussions, but is also not incapable of participating. Through my observation, I have known Cancer men to keep themselves abreast with news and happenings and therefore usually come across as knowledgeable during conversations. How should one deal effectively with a Cancer man? The only condition applicable while dealing with a Cancer man is none whatsoever. When it comes to work, he is extremely shrewd, so keep it simple. With love and emotions, he can get very demanding when it comes to a relationship. He requires constant attention and constant assurance of your love. So be there when he needs you, and you will find a most loving and caring life partner in him. And knowing his homely nature, make sure you keep a good house and a warm heart for him. How does he handle money matters? This is one man who is not at all casual when it comes to his money. A very careful spender, he can be shrewd and even stingy in money matters. But if the situation demands, he can spend on family and friends. He is also very particular about managing his finances. He is the one whose bills are paid on time, whose bank balance is regularly updated, and whose investments are only with blue-chip companies. Better safe than sorry when it comes to money. He is not one to compromise on his standard of living and will not shy away from spending whenever necessary to maintain that. How is a Cancer man on the professional front? Given a choice, a Cancer male would not like to work much. Being conservative, he is slow and careful in making new commitments. I'm not saying he is not risk-taking types, but nothing he does is done without consultation. Overall easy to work with, I would give him an 8 on 10 as a colleague at work. As a boss, a Cancer male can be very generous, both in terms of money and leniency. How is he in various relationship roles? A Cancer man likes to talk about his parents. I see that as a good quality. If he has had the right kind of relationship with his parents, you will often find him talking about them. He is specially attached to his mother and tends to hold extreme emotions for her, either utmost love or utter indifference. However, most often than not, it is love. For him, his mother is a shining example of womanhood, and he loves to talk about her, especially to his girlfriend or wife. In my opinion, this is not a problem. Wouldn't you like it if your kids spoke of you with pride? Going by the people I have met and observed, the Cancer man can be very protective and doting as a husband. As a father, he is a disciplinarian to a great extent. He would excel in his role as a provider and head of the family. How is he when alone? The hermit. You'll often find a Cancer male by himself. This emerges as a typical trait, probably owing to his suspicious attitude towards others, that stops him from befriending too many people. The handful of friends he will have will be people whom he finds completely bankable. Since he restricts himself to just a few people, he often finds himself lacking in company to hang out with. His lack of expression and blunt utterances to act as deterrents. The Cancer male feels quite at ease in his own company and would gladly spend the day watching some odd movie and dining out on his own, taking in the visual delight of a city. But this might not hold true for the very social and active kind of Cancerian male. He would reach out to his friends and their friends if he is traveling alone or out alone, although his self-respect does not allow him to show his desperation to have company. How is he when in love? Remember your school days when you were caught napping in class and your teacher asked you to write, "I won't sleep in class," 50 times on the blackboard. Well, being in love with a Cancer guy is akin to that. The only difference being here that you might have to repeat, "I love you," 100 times a day. And I'm not kidding when I say this. The sense of insecurity is so strong amongst some Cancer men that it becomes important for them to receive repeated assurances of love. In any case, when in love, they would expect their partner to be vocal and expressive about their love. Words like commitment, trust, and loyalty mean a lot to a Cancer man. He won't stand infidelity or dishonesty of any kind. Given his sensitive nature, he is likely to be deeply hurt at the smallest sign of any of those traits in his partner. On his own part, you won't find him flirting with other women after having committed himself. Whatever interaction he may have with other females would be restricted to social dues and professional circles. Quite a one-woman man, this. A Cancer guy in love can be very romantic, caring and attentive. Once he is able to come out of his shell, he will show a warm and affectionate heart. He will shower you with gifts and take you to fantastic yet undiscovered places. About 40% of them are different from the way majority appear here. What I mean is, they are easygoing, cool and fun partners to have as a friend and a lover. When in love, the Cancer guy will be fiercely possessive, as his love is driven by a sense of insecurity that the person he loves is emotionally dependent upon might leave him. And that is why assurances of love are very important to him, as he feels relieved at being the sole interest in his partner's life. And lastly, if you are in love with a Cancer man, here is the master key to his heart. Learn to cook and keep the house like his mother. Most Cancer men adore their mothers. Nothing pleases a Cancerian better than a spouse who takes after his mother, and though he may not own up to it, he likes to be pampered and petted by his partner, just like how Mama used to do. What does he look for in a partner? I have already stressed on the Cancerian male's severe insecurity syndrome, and from it stems his clinginess. If there is one man who can be really clingy, our man takes the cake. Petrified of being betrayed, the Cancer man will hold on really tight, rather too tight, to his partner, sometimes to a suffocating extent. He seeks someone who can constantly assure him of her love, support, and security. He wants a woman who loves him unconditionally, has a practical approach towards life, and most importantly, can keep his home beautifully. Nothing pleases him more than a neat and tidy home where he's served food on time. As I mentioned earlier, the Cancer man does not like his ideology to be questioned and would stick to his opinion, however redundant or narrow-minded his approach may be. With his temperament, he would want someone who holds his opinion as precious, someone who wouldn't challenge his point of view and would appreciate his knowledge and outlook. While dating him, you should tackle his shyness first. If he is the shy type, it is important to understand this basic trait of his personality before you date him. The Cancer guy can be extremely introvert and cautious. He won't tread the path of love and dating till he's 100% sure he has got the right person. Given his sensitive heart, he's afraid of getting into a relationship that might result in a heartbreak. If you have to get things started with a Cancer guy, first earn his trust. Once you inspire in him this confidence, he would go all out to prove his love for you. You may have to work hard on certain aspects, like penetrating his heart cocoon. While dating him, you will have to draw him out and make him feel comfortable. As he gets familiar with you and the surroundings, you will see him opening up in the most wonderful manner. Down the line, you would also get a taste of his exquisite sense of humor. Like I have said earlier, if you are planning a long-term dating scene with a Cancerian man, it is best to give cooking a shot. If you are able to strike the right chord with his mother, he would be as pleased as Punch. As you get ready for your date with the Cancer man, don your most feminine and graceful attire. The Cancerian loves those soft, womanly touches. Be easygoing and your charming best. The ideal way of beginning your date is a good conversation amidst an ambient setting. The Cancer guy is a very good talker, although a reluctant one initially. Once he finds an eager listener, he would churn out beautiful tales from the treasure of his memory. And be prepared that while dating him, you will have to adjust to his mood swings. Though it isn't a very overpowering trait, it can get a bit tiresome given the Cancerian's innate pessimism. And whatever you do, don't evoke his overpossessiveness. You may feel looked after and well cared for initially, but he can take this trait of his rather seriously, and you may have to face the fallouts of his suspicious and jealous disposition. Show him how warm and affectionate you are, and once he feels secure, he lets go of his over-acquisitiveness, if he is that type. Compatibility quotient. What do you need to be compatible with a sensitive creature like the Cancer guy? Love without understanding can mean very little for a Cancer man. Given his need to be in a secure relationship, finding the right soulmate can be a tough job for him. Let's find out who amongst the 12 zodiac ladies can best cope with the candid Cancerian. Cancer man and Aries woman. 7 upon 10. With understanding and a little bit of adjustment, this relationship can go a long way. The Arian will have to understand his mood swings and sedentary nature, while the Cancerian will have to give space to her outgoing nature and independent thinking. Both will have to keep their stubbornness under strict check. Taurus woman. 9 upon 10. Great chemistry. While both would know how to keep the romance going, their mutual understanding adds to it. She will know how to manage his mood swings patiently, while he will find her femininity appealing. The Gemini woman. 5 upon 10. This combination might result in clashes. The free-spirited Gemini would find the Cancerian conservatism irksome. He is too serious and intense to suit her vivacious nature. Cancer woman. 8 upon 10. There will be no dearth of love and care in this relationship, but both suffer from mood swings, and hence the relationship can suffer if the moods are not bright. However, if one of the two Cancerians is emotionally more secure, this relationship can work wonderfully in the long run. The Leo woman. 8 upon 10. Once the Leo female learns to control her blunt tongue, this relationship can rock. She would have to adjust with the Cancerian's hypersensitive nature. In return, she would get his loyalty, love, and ample care. The Virgo woman, 9/10. These two can strike a very good bond. The Virgo girl would know how to draw out the Cancer man from his reserve with her love and affection. He would respect her femininity and protect and provide for her in the most affectionate manner. The Libra woman, 7/10. This relationship won't work out without understanding. His lack of emotional expression might leave her feeling high and dry, while she may find his ideas of scraping and saving too much to digest. The Scorpio woman, 9.5/10. Rocking chemistry here. A Scorpio is a perfect match for the Cancer guy. This would be an emotionally charged relationship, as they would understand each other's emotional needs perfectly. The Sagittarius woman, 5/10. Lot of hard work will be required to make this relationship work. The Sagittarian would have to curb her out-of-the-house behavior and concentrate more on homemaking. He would have to get a bit adventurous and treat her to the thrills of life every now and then. But with the right kind of adjustments, this can work just fine. Capricorn woman, 6/10. Once they learn to respect each other's opinions and emotions, this combination can work. However, here the equation is reversed, as the Cancer guy would need to teach the Capricorn woman to display her emotions. Although both are emotional, their emotional quotient is quite different, and they would need to develop an understanding in this sphere. The Aquarius woman, 4/10. A difficult matter. The Aquarian might not be ready to give the Cancerian 100% of her time and love. She lacks the depth that he is looking for. Similarly, he won't be able to meet up with her demands of highly intellectual conversations and would be at a loss to appease her questioning mind. The Pisces woman, 9/10. Perfect. The Piscean girl has just the right amount of womanly charm to floor the Cancerian, while he has a warm and affectionate heart to offer to her. Since both are understanding and sensitive, they will appreciate these qualities in each other. Some famous Cancerian men personalities: George Michael, Saurav Ganguly, Nasiruddin Shah, Sunil Gavaskar.